So I am here at the Edutech stand with Shameema, who is, I think you're a GESS 2016 visitor, but you are a GESS kind of warrior. You've been here for years, no?
Yeah, actually we are one of the founding sponsors and partners for GESS when they started about 10 years back.
Yeah.
Just wanted to come into this region and do an education show, and being one of the premier education solutions provider, we worked with them in creating a platform because we also wanted to have a platform to be able to reach out to existing clients and for potential prospects as well, so they can come and experience the range of solutions that we provide. We can talk to them and identify needs, create solutions that will meet with what their needs are.
So you've been involved with GESS for the last 10 years or so, and in a decade, your stand alone must have changed. I'd love to see the old photographs from 10 years ago. What are some of the big changes you've noticed from 10 years ago compared to today in terms of Edutech's offering?
Yeah, a lot has changed, like you said. If you look at it, even a lot of educational approaches have changed and technologies have evolved. And we have evolved taking into consideration what the educational needs are in the region, which is what we do. So one of the things that we are showing in this space, and we did last year as well, but an extension of that is making as a pedagogy to teach STEM. There's a lot of approaches to teaching STEM, and everything has its pros and cons, but we feel that when students make, and through exploratory learning and making, they are able to understand deeply the concepts of STEM, and also is practical in nature. So when they have an artifact created at the end of a project, so they can see for themselves that they're able to make something. It also gives a great gratification as well, that they are making things instead of just consuming things as well.
So when you come up to this stand, in huge letters, it's the word "make" is your headline. There are a lot of stands here with 3D printers and things like that. It feels like there's something different with Edutech. It's not just buy another 3D printer. There's more to it than that. What are some of your key products?
Okay, great. So, yes, our concept is make, and if you look at it, there's just not only make, there's also design and code also is another three big letters that are out there. So we feel design is a very critical element in making, in any kind of making actually. So the concept that we are coming in is actually making physical products as well as digital. So that we also have a school radio program that's running over there where students can make digital audio recordings and stream it online. So here they learn a lot of skills that are functional as well as curriculum related in nature. And when it comes to the other technologies that are out here, yes, there's so many 3D printers that are out there, but we don't just sell a 3D printer as a box. We sell a number of solutions and curriculum around it and activities that are very important to make sure a 3D printer is used. Otherwise, you know very well about this keychain syndrome that is there. They'll make endless number of keychains and name tags, and that's not what a 3D printer is made for.
And yeah, it's that prototyping mindset where you don't end up with the same thing you started with. You've got to evolve it. Pedagogically in this region, how much of a mindset change is that? Is it quite a challenge that you're taking on?
It is a challenge, and it's not just only here actually, it's worldwide, because the young students nowadays don't have that approach to making and owning it. They're just so used to buying it and using it. So that's what we are trying to change, and we're trying to make it more interesting and educational and above all fun for them, so that they're learning while they're making it as well. So that's it's a challenge, but these are the ways to be able to address it. And 3D printing is an exciting way for them to see how it can be done. Not just 3D printing, there's a very simple technology of the vacuum forming machine. It's been around for a long time, but it can create prototypes and actually samples of prototypes very quickly using molds that are made either in a 3D printer or from a CNC machine. And that's another reason for them to see how things are made and how they can make things, evolve with it, ideate, prototype, recreate, learn and relearn from those things.
And I'm wondering, you've been here for such a long time. You keep coming back. You're a founding partner of this. What is so special about GESS 2016 and GESS as a whole? What do you get from it?
That's a great question. So if you look at the educational approach in this region, is changing a lot, and especially in the UAE with the initiative of His Highness Sheikh Mohammed of innovation as a platform for change in society. That's what we are so excited about, and that's why we have been working with the UAE Innovates program that happened earlier this year. And this year in GESS, our main approach is using this as a platform to get the concept of making towards innovation. That's what is going to change education, and that's how students will be able to be creative and have the skills that are required in the workplace that's demanded right now.
So also on the Edutech stand, and on the same philosophy around those big chunky maker tools of 3D printers and extrusion tools. This is another kind of making, and it's old school in some ways, and it's also incredibly high tech. Can you tell us a little bit about what we've got here?
Sure. So this is a school radio program that we are launching here for schools in the Middle East. And like you said, the radio show for schools have been around for a long time, but over here this is getting much more interesting for teachers and students, because now not only is it as an extra activity, but also can be integrated with the curriculum and is very cross-curricular in nature. So it's not only related to ICT, but also a history teacher, a geography teacher, or any languages teacher can use this as a platform to get their students to be critical thinkers, to do research skills, and to be able to present information, which is much important in any kind of a subject.
And yeah, as a French and German teacher, the 3D printing is kind of hard to imagine sometimes in my classroom, but this would fit right in. What is the difference in the last 10 years we've gone from using a kind of $20 USB microphone and a free piece of open source software. This is obviously something far more sophisticated. What are the students getting from this that they maybe don't get from that more homegrown experience?
Okay, so for example, we are launching a primary school version of a radio program as well. You can imagine young kids, but using very, very simple tools and software which are touch enabled. They can put together a radio show, which is really very exciting for kids as young as 8, 9 and 10 to be able to create their own version. So those are the changes that have come about. So they don't need to know any coding at this point in time to be able to make it, because the tools have advanced to be more easy to use even for a primary school student. So a high school student and above just makes these programs very, very easily.
So even though it looks professional and looks complex, actually you've got the youngest of learners harnessing this and really finding their own voice.
That's correct, yes. So as young as 8 and 9, they can be making radio shows. That's a primary school program that's coming up, and I can show you on the screen how easy it is to drag and drop. If kids know how to use an iPad, they can create a radio show. That may be the good analogy.
What I'm really interested in is that it is professional gear. Does it allow for live broadcast online? Because up until now, mostly we've recorded our MP3. Students have spent hours editing it. They've not made mistakes. In fact, when you listen to the final version, it's pretty much perfect. What do students learn if they're doing live broadcasting that's different from doing that pruned and perfect recorded version?
Sure. Well, there is pros and cons of using both, but maybe for a live broadcasting, they would need much better planning and also practice. So I think if they have that, they can certainly achieve very good quality in the live broadcasting as well. So here students use both versions, live as well as offline, so they can make it as a podcast and make it available. They can be using a radio show to live broadcast a special day in the school, so parents can log in and listen to what's happening. So it can be like a radio commentary as such, but they are going to be performing that. Yeah. So that's a good example of how they'll use it.
I think there are some great lessons there about making and maker culture in general. It's not always about plastic models and landfill. We mustn't forget the older technologies that are maybe coming more into their own today. Thanks to Shameema, not only for GESS 2016, but for the last 10 years as well.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.